Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Carrie Muggs. And today we're going to talk about raising your frequency, especially during the holidays, because it can be really hard. So let's face it, growing up as children, I did not, you don't know the drama. You don't know anything. I loved the holidays. I still do. I still do love the holidays. And I know that there's families out there that love getting together and have great family, it's all good. But there are sometimes that during the holidays, families can be stressful. And also too, like just the vibe of the holiday can be stressful for some people, like some people that it burdens financially, it can be stressful. And some people who are sick or have like long-term sickness or chronic sicknesses, and also people who are going through grief. And also just normal families that get together that it's hard, like there's drama. And I love my family, but I have this thing that growing up with an alcoholic, I love my dad too, but he was an alcoholic growing up. And I was always trying to make things peaceful, or I was always trying to make things, I was like trying to, I did raise I did turn into a little bit of a rebel when I was in seventh grade, I think, because of a boyfriend. But most of the time, I always had to have my dad's approval, or I always had to have everything always had to be perfect. Like if you look at like the dynamics of dysfunctional families, I was the one that was like, had to be perfect. I had to have everything perfect and it had to be peaceful. And I brought that to my family now. So we have 7 kids. And when we get together, I have to make sure everybody's taken care of and everything's good and nobody fights and there's no drama. And it's so hard and it gives me a little bit of anxiety. And I'm trying to get past that. But let's face it, there's sometimes that some people get together and family can be great. And then there's sometimes that people get together and family can be drama. And there are people out there that dread the holidays because of the family. And so this is like the raising your vibe during the holidays. I'm not going to pretend that it's all like, oh, you can say some affirmations in the mirror and everything's going to be great. I know that there's just some things that, you know, sickness, grief, and anxiety can cause some issues. So this is just kind of some ideas. And even if you're like super happy to go to the family things, you can still do some of these things, not just during the holidays, but all the time, to like raise your vibration or raise your frequency. Now, frequency is just when you're at a higher frequency or an energy, you have more energy, your vibration's higher, you feel lighter, you can feel physically and emotionally better and mentally, and you just can make better decisions, and you just feel good. You feel good about life. You're just like, you have lots of gratitude. And sometimes it's hard to be in that frequency when there's anxiety, sickness, or grief. So I'm not going to pretend that all these things are going to help you get over that, but I am going to like give you some ideas. Most of the time, what I want you to do this holiday season is give yourself some grace. Just give yourself grace. We are not perfect and we can't do everything perfect and we can't please everybody all the time. And there's going to be people out there that don't like us. And there's going to be people out there that try and say things to make us feel bad. And there's going to be, so not only give yourself some grace, but give other people grace and just let it. If they say things that try and like hurt you, or, those jabs that sometimes you get from other people, like they're trying to pretend they're giving you a compliment, but really it's a backhanded insult. Just take a deep breath and just know that you're awesome. You're amazing, and give yourself some grace and give them some grace. Just realize too that sometimes it's just not worth your energy. And as long as you know you're okay, I tell this story all the time. If some people like to tell you things or that people say things to you that get to you, it's only because you feel like there's some truth to it. So when somebody says, you're dishing up your holiday plate and somebody says, "Are you sure you should be eating that?" Or "Are you sure things like that. Or they say backhanded remarks that kind of get to you. Just just pretend it kind of gets to you because you kind of somewhere set unconsciously or subconsciously believe it. So anytime anybody says anything to you like that, just pretend that they're saying, "You know what, your hair is green," because you know that that's not true. And so it wouldn't bother you. If you were like dishing up food on your plate and somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, your hair is green," you'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like you would be. So because you know it's not true. So just know that anytime people give you backhanded comments or side remarks or things like that, just pretend they're saying your hair's green and know that it's you believe what you believe about yourself and have that confidence that you are a beautiful soul and that nobody else gets to tell you what you get to look like or how you are. And so, most of the time, mostly what I want you to remember this holiday season is to give yourself grace. Give yourself some grace. Know that you're not perfect. Know that nobody else is perfect. And know that anything that anybody says to you doesn't have to be truth. It doesn't have to be true. And you don't have to make it truth, right? So, some of the things I want you to do to practice to raise your frequency this holiday season or during the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners or the get-togethers, if they're stressful to you. Now, some people just love the holidays. It raises their vibe automatically. I'm one of those people, but I do have to admit that with this tumor this year, it's been kind of hard when I'm super tired and I can't do anything and I am kind of fatigued and I hard on myself because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I got to do this and this." And then or I can't be, when the family comes over and I can't be 100% there. I've learned this week to give myself some grace because this last couple of weeks, I usually wake up with my husband and I get ready after he leaves and I go to work and I do things for my business. And this last couple of weeks have been super hard. And my husband's left and I've gone back to bed and I've slept for like a couple hours because I'm on antibiotics and this tumor that's like in the sickness that I'm going to get surgery on soon. In fact, I was going to tell you guys too, I'm getting surgery December 1st. So I'm not sure there's going to be a podcast next week because I will be there might be a podcast next week, right? What is this week? Yes, there might be a podcast next week, but the week after that, when I have surgery, there might not be one. Okay. And that's okay because you got to give yourself some grace, right? You just got to do what you can. And I finally realized this week I felt a ton better. And I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if I just cut back on antibiotics or it's because I know that, the surgery is coming up and I have to get all this done. But um, I just learned you have to give yourself some grace and know that you're not perfect and know that it's okay. We are our hardest critics. So, some of the things I want you to do to raise your vibe is remember that no matter where you're at, you can always find something to be grateful for, something. And gratitude is the highest vibration. Gratitude just puts you in alignment. Every day before I do readings, I will do my little protection prayer that I do over my clients and I do over my office. And then I will go into gratitude and I'll strum my bowls and I'll say thank you for, and I'll name off everything that I'm thankful for, my family, my business, my clients, my everything, because even if I don't feel good, I'm so grateful for those things. And honestly, gratitude just puts you in alignment and brings in more. It brings in more of what your gratitude, what you're grateful for, it will bring in more. So always at least, and I know that there's some days, I remember when I was a mom, well, I am still a mom, but when my kids were little, I remember there were some days that it was hard to, when you have those really hard mom days, especially when I was a single mom of 4 kids, it's hard to find things that you're grateful for. But even if you're grateful for little tiny things, like I'm grateful for the squirrel I saw today out in the yard, just little tiny things, it kind of raises that frequency. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be some days that you're just like, I get it, you guys, I get it. And I don't want to pretend that I don't. I don't want to be 100 toxic positivity. Just find, I've been in those days that it's hard to find, to find things that are grateful for, but just try your hardest, and every day it will just get better, I promise. So for the holidays, if you're at a holiday function and you're just feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like, you know, there's so much drama, or there's so much tension, or there's just so much uncomfortable, go for a walk. Take the family members that you get along with, and go for a walk outside. Outside does wonders for you. It's just, I remember when I was little, my grandpa would always, we'd always have pumpkin pie. And then at the end of when we were done, he'd always want to go for a walk. Did we go down, walk to the school and back? And that was one of my favorite things from Thanksgiving is my grandpa would always take me on a walk after we ate dinner, and my mom would come too. And that was, it just is something about the outdoors, something about being outside, something about resetting. It just helps. So if you're, because when you're in the house, or you're in having, and all that energy's there, and all of that combusted energies just in there, then sometimes it's nice to go outside and go for a walk. Also, take a crystal with you to dinner, put it in your bra, put it in your pocket, put it in like any kind of, and I always, or wear tourmaline. Tourmaline will kind of repel negative energy. So wear tourmaline. Do something like that that will help you kind of, and always surround yourself with white light when you go to crowds or family functions that you are stressed about. If you get your water bottle, or you take a drink with you, write love or gratitude or grace on the bottle, because we've all know that if you write certain things on water or water bottles, that it can like change. You've all seen that study where it changes the function of it changes I don't know what it is called, whatever, it changes the water, it changes the way the water. It also says, dude, this is kind of hard. Some people think that when you go to family functions that you need to drink more because it's because it's easier to deal with people. But actually, alcohol can be a downer or depressant. So try and limit your drinks. Try and limit drinking when you're on, if you're uncomfortable where you're at. Now I try and always, another thing that you can do is you can take, well, you can secretly wear headphones, or secretly take a headphone, or go into a room and play some music that uplifts you or makes you feel better. Do some of that stuff. There's always different ways. You can also go into the bathroom and talk to yourself in the mirror and do affirmations or positive thoughts. And I know some of these sound cheesy, but they really aren't. Like 5 minutes of high five. Like I think it's Mel Robbins, yeah, she always says, give yourself a high five every day, and just kind of changing your attitude, which is where the gratitude comes through, right? Like your perception of things. And this is where you give other people grace and give yourself grace, and don't waste your energy on stupid things. Don't waste your energy on people's opinions about the way you mother, or the way you father, or the way you parent, or the way you're eating, or what you do, or how you look. Don't waste your time or energy on what other people think about you, because it's really none of their business. And honestly, if they're that way, you don't really want to be, you don't really care, right? You don't really care what they think. So I'm the type that I do love the holidays. I do love them. They aren't, but my birthday is in December, and that's probably why too. And I love Christmas. I've always loved Thanksgiving and Christmas. To me, I like to mesh them all together right after Thanksgiving, right after Halloween. I feel like Halloween is like the kickoff when we call in our ancestors and then we party with them all month long. So to me, but I do admit that there's been times when I've had to go to different family functions that I've gone in with some anxiety because people that are there don't treat you well, or people don't like you. Um, and so that's really hard. And I know what it's like getting ready to go to those functions and having anxiety and thinking through your head, well, what am I going to say if this person says this? Or what am I going to say if this person says this? And then most of the time I'd go and it would be just fine. But sometimes there would be like somebody that would say something. But just when you go this year, just give yourself some grace from both you and both the people that are around you, and do these things. Go for a walk, change your attitude, and try and tell yourself, I'm going to be happy in this situation. And I'm just going to be, I'm not going to let anybody pull me down or do anything to make me feel like I'm less than awesome. And so just, that's kind of hard. And I don't, get me wrong, I get it. It's hard. Like I said, I'm not going to try and pretend that if you have chronic illness or if you have severe grief because you've lost somebody this year or around this time of year, I'm not going to pretend like you can just walk in and pretend everything's fine. But I do want you to just know that it's okay if you feel like that too. Give yourself some grace here. You're human. You're human and it's okay. But when you do raise your frequency and you at least try and you try to step in gratitude, I just want you to know it does give you some of your personal power back. It is like a secret weapon and it gives you clarity, it gives you peace, it gives you more love, and it's easier to handle your emotions. And that's where we all screw up is our emotions get the best of us and we let our emotions make our decisions. And that's what's so hard. So I just want you to know that I think you're amazing. I do. We are not put on this earth to try and win over somebody's approval. We already have God's approval already out there. We already have our ancestors' approval, even that maybe didn't on earth, but we do now because they've seen their life reviews and they see the bigger picture and they know why we do the things we do. So give yourself some grace this holiday season and know that you're just doing the best you can. And that's all you can do. And it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, not your mom, not your dad, not your in-laws, not a sibling. It's just what you think about yourself is all that matters, and what God thinks. And God knows the big picture, and God knows that you're doing the best you can, and God loves you regardless. And I promise you, your ancestors love you regardless. Even if you had tensions on earth, they have seen their life review. They know what you're going through. And also, to go into this holiday season asking for signs, but be aware when you do ask for signs. Like, don't ask for signs and then kind of forget that they're happening. Just ask for signs and ask for specific signs and just watch for them. Watch for simple ones like dimes and pennies and lights flickering and birds and feathers and little simple signs that are easy. And most of the time, your ancestors will be around all the time because when you're together with family, they can focus their frequency on the whole family right there instead of like dividing their energy between family members. So go into this holiday season with hope. That's what I say. Hope and grace. Hope that it's going to be okay and that you are loved and you are surrounded. If you don't feel like you're loved and surrounded by people on earth, I promise you are loved and surrounded by people on the other side. So I love you guys so much. And I hope that this helped. Just always keep telling yourself, just give yourself some grace, because nobody on this planet is perfect. So I know some people think they are, but they're not. And it's going to be a big eye opening for them when they go the other side and realize that they weren't. And that's okay. So I love you guys. And I hope that you have the best Thanksgiving ever this week. And I am so grateful for all your prayers and all the gifts that I've received and the prayers that I've received. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous about this surgery just because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. The surgeon's going to go in through here, and he did say it's going to hurt, but I'm hoping, I just kept putting out there that it's going to be a fast recovery, kind of like a wisdom tooth thing. They're just going to kind of go up through my mouth and pull out the tumor. So just, I know prayers work. I do. So if you're sending them, thank you so much. I love that energy and I love you guys. And I will be thinking about all of you. Just know every day I send all of my clients and my followers grace and prayers because I know I wouldn't be here without you. And I love you. And so I will see you guys next week.